let's get started. I'm so excited to see you guys, especially since the automated email did not go out. Automations are awesome when they work. And so I just sent it out a little while ago. So I'm afraid we're missing people, but I'm so glad to see you guys. So it is week 4 already. And tonight we're going to talk. I'm going to show you. I wanted to make sure I had a second camera hooked up because we're going to talk a little bit about different kinds of borders. So I did give instructions for how to do borders on this quilt, but on the quilt behind me, I actually did something different. You probably can't really notice it at this distance, but I actually mitered the corners up here because it was a border print. I wanted it to be continuous and not just stop. So we're going to talk about different borders, and if you wanted to do something like that, how you could do it. So how is everyone doing? Has everyone got fabric? Is everybody made a block? We got one show off here, right?
I have everything done but the border.
Oh, that's awesome. Can we see?
Yeah, where is that? Oh.
Oh, that
looks
looks
great.
so nice now that's all put together. That looks really good.
Love it.
Oh, that's so cute.
Yeah.
That
So then I have
really
a
nice.
black border that I cut the
Oh,
material today.
That's really going to
Nice.
frame it nicely. I
Yeah,
think that'll
yeah.
look
Very
great.
nice.
I made the border a little thinner though.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah.
No worries. You're not going to offend me. I'm one of those
Whatever
people.
you have enough.
I think it's really fun to change things up and, so.
Right.
All right, Kristen, tell us about yours. You're quilted now.
It's done. Yeah, I pulled it off yesterday. It's not bound yet, but
Okay.
I used cuddle on the back. So it was a lot of fun. I don't know how well you can see it, but
Oh, that's pretty with the holly berries.
And yeah, pull it back again. It's really pretty. It takes a second for the cameras to actually catch up. Oh, there we go.
how's that?
Oh yeah.
I
Hard to
love how
tell.
cuddle looks.
I threw it up because I knew I wouldn't be able to hold it up to show you. I don't have enough room to step back far enough. So I stuck it up there real quick. It's a little leaning, but probably fall on me later. I actually have your circles class underneath over there from your circles. I was like, oh, it's going right over that.
That's funny.
But
so I used kettle on the back of mine too. So mine's blue kettle, and it's so I used Hanukkah. It's got 6-point stars and dreidels. And I had a little bit of trouble finding a Hanukkah pattern that wasn't too fussy. And I actually found one on Etsy, and then it had a little bit of a glitch. So I'm gonna make another video about how I actually change. So if any of you guys ever need that pattern, you have to tweak it. I had to actually do a crop before I could use it. It had one little thing, and so I let it air stitch to see if it really was going to do that, and it really did. And I was like, oh well, that's not going to work. But I thought, for $2.80, I think it looks wonderful, and it only took me 2 minutes to fix. So my friend will get that next week because I realized that I will be gone when Hanukkah starts, so I have to get it to her early.
I think I saw that on Instagram. You had posted that.
Yep. So, Michelle, how have you done? Have you started?
I did. So here, let me I'll have to turn the camera around. So this pattern really does go fast because
Definitely.
And I did not get to do much today. So this is where we're at. So the top row done, and then the next 2 rows I haven't gotten the black sashing done yet.
Okay.
So yeah,
that's coming right along.
Yep.
So yeah, it's smaller than the 16 by 16, but like these guys are here. Let's do one that's full here. I mean, these blocks are wild.
They're so cute.
It really is cute. That's going to be really cheerful and happy.
Oh yeah, they are very bright. That's for sure. But yeah, I'm liking it. And then
I think that's a great way to use it. So
definitely.
had a question for you since I haven't
Okay.
done the haven't done all the sashing yet.
Okay.
So when I was looking, I was like, well, is there any reason why I couldn't do the two vertical pieces and then do the inside two horizontal pieces and then do the outside just like a border?
No, you could do it that way. Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know what? Those are some of those things that sometimes, if I had thought about it, sometimes you actually set it up that way. And on this one, I was thinking sashings and then I got to the border. So when you're designing something, sometimes you go one way and sometimes you go another, but that would work absolutely perfectly. So yeah, absolutely.
So I was wondering, I'm like, well, I wonder what Kay was thinking when she wrote it the way she wrote it.
Maybe I wasn't thinking. Who knows? Oh man, it really is funny because I'm glad you brought that up. I'm gonna actually make a note. I have not put out the printed pattern yet. What do you guys? Maybe that's easier. It's just some people get freaked out by borders, and so they get all squirrely about. So I figured putting two borders on was probably enough. But let me just write sashing as border so that I think about that. Maybe I'll at least add it to the. I am going to print this pattern, so I could at least put it in as an option. So thank you for bringing that up. That's fun too. It's fun that you guys throw those things back.
Well, also too, for me on the sashing, because I was doing the throw size and it said to join 1.5 strips. Well, when I joined 1.5 strips, I was 2 inches short. So
Really?
yeah, I don't know why.
Was it not 42? Because I was working on 42 inches wide. So sometimes the
Yeah,
fabric.
I don't know if it was a little shorter, but it was like, okay, well, this isn't going to work. So I had to cut 2 strips for each
Okay.
of the horizontal
And what
pieces
size was that again? The throw?
the throw, it says 3.5. Well, join 1.5 strips and it was 3.5 by 63.5. And I just when I looked at it, I go, I don't think this is gonna reach. And I didn't even normally I do my things diagonal, and because you said to line it up,
Yeah,
so
you wouldn't have had room.
Yeah, well, but I didn't. So I didn't do it diagonal. I thought, okay, I'm not gonna have enough. So then I thought, okay, I'm gonna do it the way where you just sew it together. And then when I did that, it was like, okay, I'm still 2 inches short. So I did 2 strips and I did sew them straight together. I didn't do the diagonal. I did do diagonal for the outside border.
Okay. Well, I am going to check that because if it could be my mistake. So if it's my mistake, I apologize. Sometimes.
No, that's okay. I mean, I measured it first.
Well, we kind of assume that width of fabric is 42.
Right.
I've had some that are only 40. So that makes, they used to be like 44 and 45.
Right. And I think
They're
it's
shrinking.
well, like everything
The
else.
rest of us.
I know. Saracen brand used to be like this, and now it's like this for
Yeah, it's like now you get 15 ounces instead of 16 ounces, but it's the same price.
They're being sneaky. Well, tonight we're going to talk a little bit about borders. So in the pattern, I have shown you how to do basically what I call dead end borders. And I think we put them on the sides first. Yeah. So they go on either side and then top them. So that's how I organized it. But I did want I like to talk about this stuff because sometimes we all think differently and sometimes it's easy to, oh, did I not record? Yeah, I'm recording. Okay, let me share my screen and we're going to see if I managed it tonight. Would you look at that? Can you all see my cutting board?
Yeah.
Okay. And hear you.
Yay. Okay, so this is obviously not a Callithump block. It was crazy day and I didn't get around to making another one. So let's talk about dead end border. All right, so anytime you do a dead end border, you're gonna have different lengths of pieces. So on this pattern, we put them on the sides first. And then they go across the bottom. Okay, what did I do with the extra one? There it is. Okay, so the borders just dead end up against each other. And for some of you, I know because I also know you're long arm quilters, sometimes the way a border is put together helps us decide how we want to quilt it. Now there is nothing wrong. I love just an all over edge to edge on this pattern. But if you're doing you are gonna do like free motion on it or something, you could go, to here and not actually go around the corner. You could just, you could just quilt it and do dead end designs, if that makes sense. So that's what I did on this pattern. Is a dead end border. But there are some other options too. So this is what I call a continuous border. Let's see if I can get them in the right places. So a continuous border would be that I would start here. And then, let's see if any of you know who does this. And you could, so what you would do is sew all the border pieces together. You'd sew along, and when you got here, you'd just cut it off. Then you sew on the next piece. When you get there, you cut it off. You sew on the third piece. When you get to the end, you cut off. And then you get to the fourth piece. Can anyone tell me who's kind of famous for doing that?
Not me. I don't think I've ever done that.
Okay, so
That's kinda cool.
that was actually something Jenny Doan does it. And I had seen her do it on a video. I had the awesome experience of having Jenny Doan be at my house in this very room where I'm sitting tonight, and they were making a TV show, and it's never going to get seen. But anyways, she was using my sewing machine in my room, except the whole room was turned around. It was all crazy. But when she did the borders, I watched her do that. And I had kind of been doing that because I didn't really know any better. I'm very self-taught, but it always worked for me. And then I would see people get all flustered about borders. I'm like, it's not really that hard. And then I watched her do it, where she just went along and literally she had a pair of scissors and she was just like, snip, turned the whole thing, sewed it on, snip, snip, snip. And she actually, my other favorite thing that she did that day, she signed the quilt with a Sharpie marker. That was her label. She just signed it. I thought it's awesome. Jenny Doan is my kind of sew. Finished is better than perfect. So that's that's what I would call a continuous border. So it just keeps going around. You just sew all the pieces together. And honestly, that works really well, like on a baby quilt or something. Now, on a bigger quilt where there might be some flarpiness, craziness, maybe not the best choice. Okay. You guys are going to know. So I'm kind of a fast and loose kind of girl here. Okay. Now, a cornerstone border. And I didn't cut special pieces for this, but a cornerstone border is just one where you actually have little cornerstones. Now on the continuous border, you could still quilt that however you wanted. A lot of long arm quilters like cornerstone borders because they can especially if they're using Pro Stitcher, you just ping out this area, you drop in the design, and then you're going to put another little design in the square, and you don't have to worry about getting the corners right or the connecting or anything. So a lot of times a long arm quilter will actually like to put in a cornerstone border. And so just know that you can always do that on your own quilts. If maybe a quilt looks a little boring to you or something, and you want to give it a little bit more pop, you can this is just another piece. So this is, so actually I cut this wrong because you would want to have that extra. No, that would work. No, when you'd have to cut this. So this piece is 1.5. So you'd want to have this 1.5 because then it would go, you need it to still be 1.5 when it folds over. Does that make sense? Okay, so, but for visual purposes, that would be a cornerstone. And it just gives a little more pop. And then the last kind of border that I like to talk about is a mitered border. Now, this block happens to be 8.5 inches. So when I'm doing one of these borders, so it's 8.5, I take that number plus half again. So 8.5 plus like 4.25. I want to have plenty of extra. And this is actually even longer than that. So what I would do is I would set that up and I would actually go ahead and pin that on. Okay. And you guys know, you should know me well enough by now already to know that I am not much of a pinner, but I'm going to show you why I would pin this one. Of course, you know, I can't reach any more pins. I've got one rogue pin laying here. So you would put that on and then you measure back exactly 1/4 inch from the edge, which would be like right there. And you sew, so you would start sewing there. That doesn't look right from over here. I think I went a little crazy. Yeah, that's more like 1/2 inch, Kay. Okay, so like right there. And then down on this side, you would also want to mark 1/4 inch. I don't know if you can, the lighting in here tonight was kind of odd too. Okay, so that's my 1/4 inch right there. So you would want to sew from there to there. And then on this piece, you would do the same thing. So you'd have it and you'd mark, I'm just gonna randomly mark, I'm probably better at randomly marking 1/4 inch than I am at measuring it. And you're gonna sew to right there. So then what happens is once you get those sewn together, those little corners are gonna meet right up and you mark a diagonal line from there. If I could pick up my ruler and you do a diagonal line. And so notice how this one's too short. So if I was really going to do it, it would have to be out like this. And so the mark would be here. But my line would go something like this.
This is where I always struggle with a mitered border. I can never get it so that all 4 of them lie right.
That was wrong. I did that one backwards. It's the other way. You know, when I have them sewn, it makes perfect sense because what you do is once they're sewn, I got to get some pins, especially since I just did that wrong. I have to make sure you guys see it right. I should have sewn one. Let me grab a few pins here because it actually is really easy once it's sewn. Because I say that there's no way you could do it wrong. You know, we all know that. I'm going to put the pin like this to try to get a good flip on it. Then we'll put this one here. Okay, so once they're sewn on, then what you do is you fold, you press them back and you fold the whole mess in half. And they kind of come out like that. And you can fold them. Oh gosh, what did I just do? Because it's not sewn, it's throwing me off. Okay, so that corner right there is really important. Okay, and then I think I did do that right. And then you sew it that way. And when it opens up, it's a nice miter. Oh, now if I dig on, hold on, I gotta take my headset off. This is another quilt I was working on. I forgot about this one until just now. I haven't actually finished this. Those are scraps. Where's the actual fabric? Where's the actual quilt? Oh gosh, this is gonna be one of those nights. Okay, well, anyways, I will make an extra little video and I will add it on because it really is easy. If you can make sure that you sew exactly to that 1/4 inch spot, when you fold it, it just works and you can mark it with a ruler and I literally, I don't think it took me any longer to do on this quilt. And I really do like how it looks. I don't know if we can back up a little bit maybe, but you can kind of see how the design goes around. So those are
don't-
different. What? Go ahead.
I'm sorry, you don't press those borders out before you fold it to
I do.
see?
So
Okay.
I sew it on and I press it, and then
Okay.
I fold it in half with right sides together. And then if you make sure that the point of your square that you're sewing to is perfectly folded, and then you draw your line from there, they go together so nicely. I was surprised. I had done, so this other quilt that I was trying to pull out where I just had scraps, that's actually a hexagon, and that was a little bit trickier because it was a different angle. But if you line, so the trick is that you line your ruler up with the stitches and then you use your 45. So I will make a video of that and I will post it for you guys. Okay. I should have had that. It's been a day. It's been a week. What am I saying? I'm taking a pattern writers class and it's been a crazy week. But those are, it doesn't really matter what the pattern designer says. You get to do, I mean, you get to put the border on how you want to do it. And so like Michelle said, the sashing didn't make sense to her. Why not just do the middle ones and then put the outside sashing on? And that works perfectly. So you just have to be confident in cutting it, and that's one of those times when I was kind of unsure of what the measurements might be, where I would maybe put that sashing on as a continuous, just because I'm not sure what it's really going to be. So that's just an idea, but I wanted to give you guys sense, especially because I went rogue on this guy and put mitered borders on him. The real trick there is, so if you have a 6-inch border, okay, you have to add 6 inches at each end plus another half. Okay, so because if you don't have enough space, you got to remember that the hypotenuse of that triangle that you're drawing on the end for the miter is, it's much longer than the actual side of the block. So you have to make sure you add on plenty of fabric. So if the fabric's tight, don't go with, if you don't have enough, don't go with a mitered corner. I knew when I bought the fabric for this that it actually came in strips. So I bought 2.5 yards of fabric so that I would have long continuous strips. And I think there were 6 or 7 of them on the fabric. So I knew I was going to have plenty. I wasn't worried about that. But if fabric's a concern, I would not go there with a mitered border, because it does take quite a bit of extra fabric to get everything to meet up. All right. So we're going to do a little change. So the next 2 weeks you're going to have off. So next week is Thanksgiving. So we'll just be all snoozing and washing dishes. And then the following week on the 30th, I will actually be on a cruise in the Caribbean, which I am pretty excited about. And then so here's how we're going to do this. We're going to have if everybody would send in a picture of their finished quilt before December 6th. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put them in a slideshow so we get to see all of the different quilts. And then I will draw a name of somebody. So as long as they're to me by like midnight on December 6th, and I'll be in Maine for that drawing. So we'll do the drawing in Maine, and then I come home the next couple of days and I will get the prize sent out. Does that sound good to everyone? Because that way, even if somebody can't really attend the meeting, you could still be in the running. All right, so that's how I think we're going to do that. And I will send that information out along with a video about how to do a mitered border. Sound
Please.
good?
Yes.
Yeah, sounds great.
Well, I am excited to see all your quilts, and I really do want to make another one. It's just this has been sucking up my time. So this is going to be my new Christmas quilt coat.
Oh,
Wow.
Have you guys ever made a quilt coat before?
No.
I made one last year with an old quilt that I found in Maine, and I washed it, and then I avoided all the areas that falling apart, that were just disintegrating. But what I've discovered is it's continuing to disintegrate. So it's going to have to just live on a hanger in my quilt room somewhere. And I have to have a new one to wear. So it's going to fall right off me.
And your knees
They're
doing
fun, though.
okay?
Yes. Yes, I'm doing fine. I still can't get in the water. So on the cruise, I'll still have to, I'll be a landlubber, but because I still got a little hole, but I am doing well. So lots of it. Thank you. All right. Well, thank you guys. I won't see you for 2 weeks, but I will see you on December 7th. Okay.
Happy
Sound good?
Thanksgiving.
Sounds good.
Happy
Sounds
Thanksgiving.
good.
Take care, everyone.
Bye,
Thank you.
everyone. Bye.